Some women announce their exit with tears, slammed doors, and broken words. Others leave quietly. And sometimes, that silence is the most dangerous move of all. Nora Bellamy didn't shout. She didn't fight. She didn't beg for explanations or demand apologies. When she finally walked away, her steps were light, almost unnoticeable, yet the impact of her absence would shake everything she left behind. But before the silence, there was a life many admired. Welcome back, besties. This is another beautiful story, and it's about jealousy, covetousness, and greed. Kindly sit back and enjoy the ride with me on this story. And if you find it interesting, then don't watch it alone, share with friends, families, and neighbors, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button for more interesting stories. Nora and Victor Hale lived in Riverton Heights, a serene neighborhood known for its trimmed hedges, clean sidewalks, and the kind of calm that money couldn't buy, only discipline and peace could. Their home wasn't the loudest or the biggest, but it carried a quiet elegance. Everything in it felt intentional, from the warm lighting to the soft neutral colors that reflected Nora's taste. Their marriage was the same way. Victor Hale was a consultant at Axiom Consulting Group, respected for his discipline and consistency. He wasn't flashy, but he was reliable, the kind of man clients trusted with big decisions. He worked long hours, attended endless meetings, and carried the pressure of responsibility without complaint. What many didn't see was how much of that stability came from Nora. Every morning, Nora woke before Victor, not because she had to, but because she liked the stillness of dawn. She made coffee the same way every day, packed his lunch when she could, and listened attentively when he spoke about work. She didn't interrupt. She didn't compete. She simply understood. And Victor noticed. Not loudly. Not dramatically. But in the way he relaxed when he got home. In the way his voice softened when he said her name. In the way his shoulders dropped the moment he walked through the door. People often described Nora Bellamy with words like graceful, soft-spoken, composed. But those who paid close attention knew she wasn't weak. Her confidence didn't beg for attention, it commanded respect without trying. At social gatherings, she never fought to be heard, yet people leaned in when she spoke. She laughed easily, dressed simply, and moved with a calm that made others slow down around her. And somewhere across the city, in a glass office building filled with ambition and quiet competition, someone was watching. Lena Cross worked on the same floor as Victor at Axiom Consulting Group. She was intelligent, hardworking, and deeply observant. Unlike Nora, Lena's confidence wasn't steady, it rose and fell depending on who was in the room. The first time Lena saw Nora was during a company dinner. Victor had arrived late, apologizing politely, and moments later, Nora walked in beside him. She wasn't overdressed. She wasn't flashy. Yet something about her made heads turn. Lena noticed it immediately. Not envy. Not hatred. Curiosity. She watched how Victor pulled out Nora's chair without thinking. How Nora thanked him softly. How they exchanged brief glances, small, private gestures that said more than words ever could. Lena felt something unfamiliar settle in her chest. Why does he look at her like that? At first, she told herself it was admiration. After all, what was wrong with noticing another woman's poise? Nora wasn't intimidating, she was calm. Approachable. Natural. But over time, admiration became attention. Attention became observation. And observation became a comparison. Lena began noticing how Victor behaved differently at work on days Nora visited the office. He smiled more. He was lighter. Even his tone during meetings shifted subtly. And Lena noticed something else, something that unsettled her. Nora never tried. She didn't try to impress. She didn't try to compete. She simply existed as herself, and the world seemed to make space for her. Late one evening, long after most employees had left, Lena sat alone at her desk scrolling through her phone. She didn't even remember typing Nora's name into the search bar, it felt automatic. Nora's social media was quiet. Minimal. No thirst for validation. Just small moments of life, a cup of tea by the window, a bookshelf, a soft smile under natural light. Lena stared at the screen longer than she meant to. She's not finer than me, Lena thought. She's not louder. Not richer. Not younger. So why does she have everything? That question stayed. It followed Lena home. It echoed in her apartment at Eastgate. It sat beside her when she looked into the mirror and adjusted her hair, her clothes, her posture. At work, she began paying closer attention, not just to Victor, but to Nora. The way she stood. The way she smiled. The way she spoke without forcing her voice. Slowly, a dangerous realization formed. Lena didn't just want Victor Hale. She wanted the life Nora Bellamy lived. The house. The calm. The respect. The way people leaned in instead of talking over her. And once that desire took root, it didn't stay quiet for long. Because envy never does. Lena Cross didn't change overnight. That would have been obvious. Suspicious. Instead, the transformation arrived quietly, like a shadow stretching longer each day without anyone noticing where it began. It started with clothes. One Monday morning, Lena stood in front of her wardrobe longer than usual. Her fingers brushed past bright colors and bold patterns she once loved and stopped at something softer. Neutral. Clean. Simple, she thought. At the office, she caught her reflection in the glass walls of Axiom Consulting Group and felt a strange sense of satisfaction. Not because she looked beautiful, but because she looked controlled. That afternoon, Victor walked past her desk and paused. "New look?" he asked casually. Lena smiled. Not too wide. Not too eager. It just felt like changing things up. Victor nodded and continued walking, unaware that the brief exchange replayed in Lena's mind for hours afterward. From that day on, Lena paid attention to details she had never cared about before. The way Nora folded her hands when she listened. The slight tilt of her head when she smiled. The calm rhythm of her laughter, never forced, never loud. Lena practiced these things alone. In the mirror. In the elevator. In empty meeting rooms after hours. She adjusted her posture. Softened her voice. Slowed her movements. Soon, it wasn't just about looking like Nora. It was about feeling like her. At first, coworkers complimented Lena. "You look different," someone said one morning. "More polished," another added. She accepted the praise with a gentle nod, just the way Nora would have. But not everyone was impressed. One afternoon, during lunch, a colleague laughed lightly and said, "Careful, Lena. You're starting to dress like Victor's wife." The words were meant as a joke. They didn't feel like one. Lena laughed too quickly, too sharply, and immediately hated herself for it. She spent the rest of the day replaying the moment, wondering if they had noticed. Wondering if they knew. That evening, she opened Nora's social media again. She scrolled slowly, studying not just the photos, but the captions. Short sentences. Thoughtful pauses. Nothing excessive. Lena began mirroring them. When Nora posted a photo of a book by the window, Lena posted a similar one the next day, same angle, same soft lighting. When Nora shared a quiet reflection about gratitude, Lena followed with something almost identical, just worded differently enough to feel safe. At least, she thought it was safe. But imitation is never invisible. People noticed. And somewhere deep inside, Lena knew this wasn't admiration anymore. It was a rehearsal. The more she copied, the less she recognized herself. Her old laugh sounded foreign now. Her bold opinions felt too sharp. Her presence, once loud, now felt restrained, practiced. Yet instead of stopping, she leaned further in. Because stopping would mean admitting something terrifying. That she didn't know who she was without comparison. Late nights at Axiom became her favorite. The office was quieter then. The noise of competition faded, leaving space for conversations that felt intimate. Victor often stayed late too. Deadlines. Clients. Pressure. One evening, as Lena passed his office, she noticed the way he rubbed his temples, exhaustion written clearly across his face. "You okay?" she asked softly. He sighed. Just one of those days. Lena stepped inside without being invited. She didn't offer solutions. She didn't interrupt. She listened. Just like Nora did. Victor talked longer than he meant to. About work stress. About expectations. About the weight of always having to be steady. Lena nodded. Encouraged. Reflected his words back to him gently. You carry a lot, she said quietly. Victor looked at her, surprised. Yeah, he admitted. I do. That moment settled between them like a spark waiting for oxygen. From then on, the conversations became routine. Small check-ins. Shared coffee. Lingering glances that stayed a second too long. And Lena noticed something dangerous. Victor spoke to her the same way he spoke to Nora. Calm. Open. Unguarded. Each time it happened, Lena felt closer to her goal. But something else was happening too. At night, alone in her apartment, Lena avoided mirrors. Because the woman staring back at her looked unfamiliar. Her skin felt dull. Her eyes were tired. And beneath the imitation was a growing emptiness she couldn't name. One evening, while scrolling through her phone, Lena stopped at a new post from Nora. It was a simple selfie, bare face, natural light, skin glowing softly. The caption read, "Taking care of myself lately. Peace looks good on me." Lena stared at the image longer than she should have. Her fingers trembled slightly as she zoomed in. The skin. The ease. The quiet confidence. Something inside her snapped. Why does she glow like that? Why does everything come so easily to her? The next day, on her way home from work, Lena noticed a small roadside stand advertising natural glow cream, instant results. Normally, she would have walked past. This time, she stopped. The vendor smiled knowingly. It works, he said. You'll see the difference fast. Lena didn't ask questions. She bought it. That night, she applied the cream generously, standing close to the mirror, searching for transformation. At first, there was only warmth. Then burning. By morning, her skin was red and irritated. By evening, blisters appeared. The pain was sharp, unrelenting. Anyone else would have stopped. But Lena didn't. She covered the marks with makeup and went to work anyway, ignoring the concerned glances and whispered comments. Because in her mind, this pain was temporary. This was the price of becoming someone else. And she was willing to pay for it. The pain didn't stop. If anything, it got worse. By the third day, Lena's skin felt like it was on fire. Red patches spread across her cheeks and jawline, angry and inflamed. Small blisters formed near her temples, tender to the slightest touch. Each time she looked in the mirror, she flinched. Still, she applied the cream. Carefully. Desperately. She told herself it was part of the process. That beauty always demanded sacrifice. That Nora probably went through things like this too, treatments, routines, discipline she never talked about. At work, the whispers began. Is she okay? Looks like an allergy. She should see a doctor. Lena smiled through it all, her face tied beneath layers of makeup. I'm fine, she insisted. Just trying something new. But she stopped joining group lunches. Stopped sitting under bright lights. Stopped laughing freely. The skin that once felt like armor now felt like betrayal. And beneath the physical pain was something worse. Fear. Because for the first time, Lena felt she might be losing, not gaining control. Late one evening, as she sat alone at her desk, Victor walked past and slowed. You don't look well, he said gently. The concern in his voice did something dangerous to her. I'm just tired, she replied, lowering her eyes. Victor hesitated, then pulled out a chair and sat beside her. You don't have to stay so late every night. Lena swallowed. I don't really have anywhere else to be. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Victor frowned slightly. Don't you live near Eastgate? Yes, she said. But it's quiet. Too quiet. He nodded, understanding more than she had said aloud. That night, they talked longer than usual. About work at first. Then about life. Expectations. Loneliness. Victor spoke about pressure, the constant need to provide, to be dependable, to never falter. I can't afford to fall apart, he said quietly. People depend on me. Lena listened intently, leaning forward slightly, mirroring Nora's attentive stillness. You don't always have to be strong, she said. Even strong people need space to breathe. Victor looked at her for a long moment. In that silence, something shifted. From then on, the line blurred. They shared morning coffee runs. Inside jokes. Quiet smiles that lingered a little too long. Lena learned when to speak and when not to. She became a safe place. And Victor didn't even realize how much he needed one. One night, rain poured heavily as they left the office. The city lights blurred against the wet pavement. Victor stopped beside Lena at the parking lot. I can drop you off, he said. It's late. She hesitated, just enough to seem unsure. Are you sure? He nodded. Inside the car, the rain drummed against the roof, enclosing them in a private world. Lena stared out the window, her reflection faint in the glass patch. Patchy makeup, tired eyes, skin hidden beneath layers. I feel invisible most days, she said suddenly. Victor glanced at her. What do you mean? She swallowed. Like I'm always watching other people live the life I want, and wondering what I'm missing. The vulnerability was real. That was the most dangerous part. Victor didn't respond right away. Then he said softly, You're not invisible. The words settled heavily between them. When they reached Eastgate Apartments, Lena didn't move immediately. Her hand rested on the door handle. She turned toward him. Thank you, she said quietly. Victor nodded, but neither of them looked away. The kiss wasn't planned. It wasn't rushed. It happened slowly, as if neither of them had the courage or the will to stop it. That night became the beginning of something Lena had imagined for months. In the days that followed, the affair unfolded quietly. Hidden conversations. Stolen moments. Locked doors. Lena felt triumphant. She had crossed the line. She had proof. He chose me, she told herself. Yet every evening, Victor still went home to Nora. And that detail gnawed at her. At first, Lena convinced herself it didn't matter. Affairs were complicated. People needed time. But time passed and nothing changed. Victor still spoke about Nora with respect. Still wore his wedding ring. Still lived in the house at Riverton Heights. One evening, after they had been together, Lena asked carefully, Does she suspect anything? Victor stiffened. No. There was relief in his voice. And something else. Guilt. I don't want to hurt her, he added. The words cut deeper than Lena expected. Then why hurt me? She thought, but didn't say it. Her skin worsened. The cream had done permanent damage. Dark patches formed where the blisters healed. The glow she chased had turned into scars. She avoided mirrors now completely. Victor noticed. You should really see a doctor, he said one afternoon. Lena smiled weakly. I will. But she never did. Because seeing a doctor would mean admitting the truth. That this wasn't about skincare. This was about trying to erase herself. At night, alone, Lena replayed moments with Victor again and again, searching for reassurance. But something had changed. Victor's messages became shorter. His responses were delayed. The warmth faded. One evening, he didn't respond at all. Panic crept in. For the first time, Lena wondered if she had miscalculated. If the life she wanted wasn't waiting for her. If Nora, quiet, patient, unaware, was still winning without trying. And that thought terrified her more than the pain ever had. Because envy could survive comparison. But it could not survive the fear of losing. Lena knew something was wrong before Victor said anything. She felt it in the silence. Messages that once came quickly now arrived hours later. Conversations that used to stretch deep into the night ended with polite excuses. Victor no longer lingered near her desk. He avoided eye contact in meetings. When they spoke, it was brief and professional. Controlled. The worst part wasn't the distance. It was the normalcy. Victor still laughed with colleagues. Still attended meetings. Still lived his life. Just not with her anymore. One evening, Lena sent a simple message. "Are you okay?" It went unread. An hour passed. Then 2. By the time her phone finally buzzed, the reply was short. "We need to stop." Her hands shook as she typed back. "Stop what?" Several minutes passed before his response came. "This. Us. It can't continue." Lena stared at the screen, her chest tightening. "Why?" She typed. "Did I do something wrong?" The reply came slower this time. "No. But I did." That was it. No explanations. No reassurance. No softness. Just distance wrapped in responsibility. The next time they spoke in person, it was in a quiet hallway after work hours. Victor stood with his hands in his pockets, shoulders tense. "I never meant for it to go this far," he said. I love my wife." The words landed like a blow. Lena laughed once, sharply. "Then why were you with me?" Victor looked away. "I was weak." Weak. So this was what she had become, a moment of weakness. She wanted to scream. To remind him of every conversation, every confession, every promise that hadn't been spoken but had been felt. Instead, she nodded. "Fine," she said softly. "I understand." She didn't. Not really. From that moment on, Lena unraveled. She began watching Victor again, not with longing, but with fear. Fear that she was being erased. Fear that Nora was winning without even knowing there had been a competition. Her messages changed. First, they were gentle reminders. "I miss talking to you. Can we at least be honest?" Then they became heavier. "You owe me an explanation. You can't pretend this didn't happen." Victor responded less and less. Eventually, he stopped altogether. That silence, his silence, felt unbearable. So Lena broke it. She created a new email address. One that couldn't be traced back to her. The first message she sent to Nora was subtle. A suggestion. A planted doubt. Some truths don't stay hidden forever. Nora didn't respond. Lena waited. Days passed. Nothing happened. So she sent another message. This one included half-truths, dates, vague references, hints designed to disturb rather than accuse. Still, no response. The calm unsettled her. Did Nora know already? Or was she ignoring it? The uncertainty drove Lena deeper into obsession. Her skin worsened under the stress. The scars darkened. The makeup cracked by midday. She avoided mirrors completely now, walking past reflective surfaces with her eyes lowered. At work, people began keeping their distance. Lena noticed the whispers had changed tone, not curious anymore, but cautious. She didn't care. All that mattered was forcing a reaction. She sent one final message. This time, it was direct. "Ask your husband where he was on Thursday nights." That evening, Lena sat on her couch, phone clutched tightly in her hand, waiting for the fallout. It never came. Instead, something else happened. At Riverton Heights, Nora Bellamy noticed a message light up on Victor's phone as it lay charging beside the couch. Victor was in the shower. Nora didn't rush. She picked up the phone calmly and read. Then she scrolled. And scrolled. And scrolled. Deleted messages. Archived conversations. Late night timestamps. The truth unfolded quietly. When Victor came out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, Nora was sitting upright on the couch, the phone resting in her hand. "We need to talk," she said. Her voice was steady. Victor froze. Over the next hour, Nora listened. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't interrupt. She asked questions, clear, precise ones. "How long? Where? Did you lie to me?" Victor answered all of them. And when he finished, Nora said something that surprised him. "She didn't want you," Nora said calmly. "She wanted to be me." Victor looked up sharply. "I saw it," Nora continued. "The copying. The timing. The desperation." She stood and walked to the bedroom. That night, Nora packed a small bag. "Not everything. Just enough. I need space," she said. "To think." Victor pleaded. Apologized. Promised change. Nora listened. Then she left. Quietly. No shouting. No messages. No public collapse. Just absence. When Lena found out Nora had left, she felt a rush of triumph so sharp it almost hurt. This was it. Silence meant weakness. And now, finally, there was space for her to step in. The house at Riverton Heights felt wrong without Nora. It wasn't just quieter, it was hollow. Victor noticed it the first morning he woke up alone. The bed was cold on her side. The curtains were still drawn. The smell of coffee never came. He stood in the kitchen staring at the empty space where Nora usually sat, his chest tightening with something dangerously close to panic. At work, the cracks showed quickly. Victor missed deadlines. Forgot meetings. Lost focus during presentations. Clients noticed. So did his supervisors. He had built his life on discipline, but discipline needed balance. And Nora had been that balance. Without her, everything tilted. Lena watched from a distance. She noticed the dark circles under Victor's eyes. The way his shoulders slumped. The irritation he tried and failed to hide. To Lena, it looked like an opportunity. She waited a few days before making her move. Then she showed up at Riverton Heights one evening, dressed carefully. Not flashy. Not dramatic. Soft tones. Calm posture. She knocked. Victor opened the door and froze. "Lena," he said quietly. "You shouldn't be here." She smiled gently. "I heard she left. I just wanted to check on you." The house behind him was messy, unmade bed, scattered papers, unwashed dishes. The absence of Nora's touch was obvious. Lena stepped inside without being invited. "I know this is hard," she said softly. "You don't have to go through it alone." Victor shook his head. "This was a mistake." Her smile faltered. "What do you mean?" "You being here," he continued. "All of this." Lena's chest tightened. "But she's gone." Victor looked at her, then really looked at her. "She left because of me," he said. "Not so you could replace her." The words cut deep. Lena tried to reach for him, but he stepped back. "You're not her," he said quietly. That sentence shattered something inside her. She laughed once, hollow and sharp. "I tried to be." Victor flinched. That night, Lena left Riverton Heights humiliated and furious. The silence she once believed was weakness now felt like a trap. Days passed. Weeks. And Nora didn't return. Victor's life continued to deteriorate. He started missing work altogether. Contracts fell through. His health suffered headaches, exhaustion, and constant nausea. At night, he sat alone in the living room, replaying memories he had taken for granted. Nora laughing softly. Nora listened patiently. Nora holds everything together without asking for praise. And he realized something too late. She hadn't been loud because she hadn't needed to be. Lena spiraled. She sent Victor messages again, pleading now, not demanding. "We can fix this. I understand you now. Please don't shut me out." He didn't respond. At work, Lena's reputation suffered. Her performance declined. People avoided her. The mirror became unbearable. Her skin, scarred and uneven, told the story of desperation she refused to face. She stayed indoors more often. Curtains drawn. Lights dimmed. And still, Nora remained silent. That silence became unbearable. Lena began to wonder if Nora had disappeared for good. Or worse, if she was watching. The thought unsettled her. One evening, Lena received an unexpected message. It wasn't from Victor. It was from a private number. Not all silence is surrender. Her heart pounded. She reread the message again and again, trying to trace its origin. Was it a threat? A warning? Or her imagination finally turning against her? Across the city, Nora Bellamy was not hiding. She was waiting. She had taken time to think. To observe. To gather proof. The threats. The timing. The manipulation. She had seen everything. When she left Riverton Heights, she didn't leave blindly. She left strategically. And now, she was ready. 6 weeks after Nora Bellamy walked away, Riverton Heights saw her again. She arrived on a quiet morning, the kind where the sky hung low and the air felt expectant. Her car pulled into the driveway smoothly, without haste, without announcement. Nora stepped out calmly. Nothing about her suggested fear or hesitation. She looked rested. Composed. Grounded in a way that made the house itself seem to straighten in response. Inside, Victor was sitting on the couch, half-dressed, staring at his phone. When he heard the door open, he looked up and froze. Nora, he breathed. She didn't rush toward him. She didn't embrace him. She simply nodded. I need to collect a few things, she said. And we need to talk. Victor stood, his movements clumsy. I've been waiting, he said. I've been trying to call. I know, Nora replied calmly. Her eyes drifted around the room, taking in the disorder. The empty mugs. The scattered files. The quiet chaos. She exhaled slowly. I see. Before Victor could speak again, the front door opened. Lena stood there. Her face tightened when she saw Nora. You're back, Lena said, forcing a smile. Nora turned toward her fully for the first time. Yes, she replied. And you shouldn't be here. Lena scoffed lightly. This isn't your house anymore. The words echoed sharply. Nora tilted her head slightly. It's still my name on the deed. Silence fell. Victor looked between them, tension radiating from his frame. Lena stepped closer. You left, she said. You walked away. Nora's expression didn't change. I stepped back, she corrected. There's a difference. Lena laughed nervously. All this drama over a mistake. You could have fought. You could have tried. Nora met her gaze steadily. I don't fight for what I already own, she said. I observe. Lena's smile cracked. Nora reached into her bag and pulled out her phone. I know about the emails, she said. The threats. The lies. Lena's eyes flickered. I know about the copying, Nora continued. The impersonation. The obsession. Lena shook her head. You're imagining things. Nora tapped her screen and held it up. Security footage played. Lena approaching the house. Lena circled the property. Lena standing at the gate late at night. I left, Nora said quietly, but my eyes never left this house. The words landed like a verdict. Lena staggered back a step. You were spying on me. I was protecting my life, Nora replied. From someone who wanted to steal it. Lena's composure broke completely. You had everything, she shouted. You didn't even appreciate it. Nora's voice remained calm. I did. I didn't throw it away. Lena lunged forward but stopped abruptly as Nora raised her hand. In it was a small spray bottle. The contents hit Lena's face before she could react. She screamed, clutching her eyes, collapsing to her knees as pain and humiliation washed over her. Leave, Nora said coldly. And never come back. Victor stared, stunned. Nora turned to him. "You betrayed me," she said. "But you didn't destroy me." Victor's voice cracked. "I'm sorry." "I know," she replied. "And I know what comes next." Lena stumbled to her feet, sobbing, and fled. The house fell silent again. But this time, it was different. This silence was not empty. It was resolved. The days that followed were quiet in a way Lena had never imagined. She stayed in Eastgate apartments, avoiding mirrors, avoiding people, avoiding the world. Her messages went unanswered. Her presence at Axion Consulting drew only cold stares. The whispers had turned into judgment, and judgment into avoidance. Her skin, once a source of desperate obsession, was now a permanent reminder of failure. The miracle cream had burned and scarred her, leaving blotches she couldn't hide. Every glance in reflective surfaces reminded her of what her envy had cost her. Victor's life continued to crumble, though slowly. The weight of his mistakes and absence of Nora's steady presence was evident everywhere. At work, projects failed. At home, exhaustion made him irritable and distracted. He tried to fix what had gone wrong, but the truth was undeniable. Nora's calm and wisdom had been the backbone of both his personal and professional life. Victor found himself staring at his empty house most nights, missing the small routines he had taken for granted. Nora's laughter. Her attentiveness. The subtle, effortless support she offered without complaint. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't dramatic, but it had been the force that held his life together. Then, one morning, he heard the sound of a key turning in the front. Nora returned. She walked in deliberately, as though she owned every inch of the space. There was no rush, no emotion. Just the quiet confidence that had defined her for years. Victor's eyes met hers, wide with relief and shame. "Welcome back," he whispered. Nora gave him a small nod. "Thank you for keeping things as they were," she said softly. "I see what needs to be seen." Victor's apology spilled out without control. Every misstep, every regret, every moment of weakness. Nora listened patiently, her presence calm and unwavering. "Finally," she said, "it's over. Everything else will follow naturally." Victor exhaled, relief and shame intertwining. He knew her words weren't just about forgiveness, they were about clarity, about reclaiming what had been almost stolen. Meanwhile, Lena's world had entirely fallen apart. She tried to reach Victor once more, but the doors were firmly closed. She attempted to go to Riverton Heights, to confront Nora, to plead, but surveillance had already documented every step she took, and her approach ended in humiliation. Even the small victories she had imagined Victor's attention, the temporary thrill of being chosen, had crumbled into ashes. Every plan, every attempt to replace Nora, had failed. It wasn't just that she had lost Victor. She had lost herself. Her obsession, her imitation, her physical and emotional deterioration, all of it had left her hollow. Envy had consumed her identity and left behind a person unrecognizable even to herself. Nora, on the other hand, returned without need for confrontation. She reclaimed her life with calm strength. She faced the danger of Lena's obsession without panic, without drama, and without compromise. She had left, but her eyes never left the house. She had stayed silent, waited strategically, and observed. And now, she stood victorious not through aggression, not through force, but through patience, dignity, and wisdom. Victor embraced her once more, aware that he had been wrong. Aware that he had failed, but grateful that the woman he loved had never truly left. As for Lena, her story ended in the quiet despair that envy often breeds. No one mourned her losses. No one cheered her small victories. She was left alone, a cautionary tale of the destructive power of obsession. Moral of the story. Jealousy destroys. In trying to become someone else, Lena lost her identity, health, and relationships. Patience is power. Nora's calm, strategic withdrawal exposed lies and manipulations without her having to fight. Silence can be stronger than confrontation. The quiet observer often sees more and controls the outcome. True strength is understated. Nora's dignity, grace, and consistency ultimately safeguarded what was hers. Imitation is never authentic. Only self-awareness and integrity create lasting respect and success. The end. Thanks for watching, besties. And please don't forget to share, like, comment and subscribe, it means a lot to me.